Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. And a lot of us woke up this morning to the earthquake that was caused by Donald Trump's late night truth socials, where he said he took great umbrage to the Ontario government, although he said it was the Canadian government, summoning the spirit falsely under false pretenses of Ronald Reagan to chastise the Americans for their use of tariffs. And because of that, all trade talks are officially cut off. He described us as cheaters. We're trying to influence the Supreme Court. Mike Burns try to make sense of the nonsensical here.
Look, Ben, I really have to wonder what Premier Ford thought he was trying to achieve here. You know, spending $75 million of Ontario taxpayer money attacking the Trump administration. It's akin to poking a bear and being surprised when it bites.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't understand. You know, Trump did what Trump does, and he slammed the door into the talks. And I guess the question I have, was this coordinated with Ottawa and the other premiers?
Yeah, and that's
I think if Ford spoke what was diplomacy, it failed.
I don't think it was. I don't think he was trying to achieve diplomacy. And you know, when I hear that, it's like that's like poking a bear. It's like I want to choose my words carefully, but I'm reminded of the abusive spouse who says, you know, your behavior made me do that. Your behavior made me be violent towards you. And it's like, no, it's an overreaction as far as I can see. Warren, I've got a theory here. I've got a theory that Donald Trump is chumming the waters. I think in anticipation of this Supreme Court challenge to his tariff power that's coming in November, I think his lawyers told him it's not going to go as well as we think it's going to go. It's going to be hard. We don't think we've got a victory in the bag. He is already chumming the waters. He is priming the pump. He is telling everybody there's somebody to blame. There's a cheater afoot. It used to be Hillary. It used to be the DOJ. It used to be the FBI. It used to be Google. It used to be Meta, the Wall Street Journal. You name it. It's his playbook, because when he sees a failure on the horizon, if he can claim someone cheated, then it wasn't a failure. And so that's what I think is happening here, because he didn't have a problem with this ad when he saw it 7 days ago.
I agree with your theory. I'm not sure I agree with our friend. But trying to figure out Donald Trump's mind is a good way to lose your mind. My advice to people always, my rule is pay attention to what he does, not what he says.
Yeah.
So this could be a head fake. We'll find out. But the one thing I can tell you is somebody who's committed the sin of putting together negative ads. I put together attack ads in my youth for the Liberal Party of Canada. Attack ads, the reason why guys like me love them is they work. A $75 million ad buy quoting the former president of the United States, who's beloved in the Republican Party, it was working.
Yeah.
The ad buy was in Republican districts. Yeah. Those Republicans were getting in touch with the White House saying, this is moving public opinion. I'm very nervous about this. Trump leaned on the Reagan Presidential Center to issue that BS tweet that they did. It was completely false. They lied about what President Reagan said in that 1987 address at Camp David, I think it was. Yeah. They lied, and Trump used that as a pretext to go after Canada.
Yeah, and from what I saw, he said he is loath to use tariffs, but is a power he thinks the president has to have, and that power shouldn't be circumscribed. The difference is Ronald Reagan came from a position, I was like, I hate using tariffs, but I will if I have to. Donald Trump comes from it like, I love using tariffs, and I won't stop even if somebody tells me to. And so that to me is the biggest difference. Also, the fact that U.S. copyright law says that anything a president does or says, anyone can use it and alter it. That's part of the law. So to me, and nobody had a problem with this in Canada, with the exception of...
it was a 5-minute speech.
Yeah.
You can't run an ad that's 5 minutes long. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I've agonized over ellipsis when I'm putting together attack ads. So you have to be faithful and make sure that what you are quoting is representative of what the speaker originally said. And it is. Yeah. Like you check CNN this morning, New York Times, every media says, actually, the ad faithfully quotes President Reagan.
Yeah.
So it was having an impact. Trump last week, when the ad started running, said, I actually understand why Canada's doing this.
Yeah. So Mike,
now he's saying he's objecting because it's working.
Yeah. So Mike Burns, and I think when you see somebody cut off all trade negotiations for these sorts of reasons, it just reminds me we're dealing with somebody who is incapable of acting in good faith. He is incapable of being an honest broker. And that just tells me that Mark Carney's got his work cut out for him. However, you did bring up another good point that I think we should pull at here. It seems like there is a lack of coordination between our provinces. We're the de facto leaders of this Team Canada thing for a very long time, and the new prime minister who probably wants to assert his leadership on that file, but some of the provinces are maybe having a tough time giving up a little bit of that control, Mike?
Yeah, listen, Warren might know better than I do. I've got to believe. I mean, I want to believe that Carney and the premiers knew that these ads were going to be running. I think a Team Canada approach is the only approach that's going to work. And as I've said on this show before, Trump's unpredictability is his predictability. You know that this guy is going to go to these types of tactics. And yeah, I mean, what the prime minister faces right now and the premiers is probably one of the greatest challenges we've had to deal with in decades, having to negotiate with Trump and his administration. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. And like I said, I think this to me reminds me of every single time he has seen a failure coming. Maybe he didn't know he was going to win the first election, and so he was blaming what he thought was going to be a loss on a whole bunch of people until he won. And but it's never a loss for him because somebody always cheats. And in this case, it just feels like he dusted off the old playbook, and he sees he's got a fight ahead of him at the Supreme Court where he's going to lose some powers that are not his in the first place that he took, and he's going to have to give a whole lot of money back, and that changes the prospects of how he leads moving forward, and he doesn't like that. So I guess Canada becomes the cheater here.
Absolutely. Ben Mulroney for Prime Minister.
Oh, God, no. Ben Mulroney for tinfoil hat man.
No, but you're right. Yeah. You're right. But it does, like I said, it feels like a head fake to me. Let's just wait to see what he does. Is the Prime Minister yelling at Premier Ford on the phone this morning? Possibly. But I think we all know that Ontario would have shown the ad to the feds before.
Yeah.
And a $75 million ad buy. $75 million? They would not have run that thing without testing it. And the testing would have shown in groups that it was going to have resonance with the American public. Yeah. You don't put $75 million behind creative unless you know it's going to have an impact.
Yeah.
It was having an impact, and that's why Trump is bitching about it on Truth Social last night.
And he said himself he saw the ad, and while he disagrees, like he doesn't disagree with that. If I were Canada, I would be running that ad too. He didn't have a problem with it until something changed. And Warren, I think you're probably right that it was working and the tide was turning. And so he had to change the focus of the story to Canada's a bunch of liars and cheaters, and now we're trying to affect the Supreme Court. Okay, it is what it is. But his unpredictability, Mike, is you say that is his predictability, but I don't know what Mark Carney. I didn't used to feel sorry for Mark Carney because he said he wanted this job. Now I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, listen. I mean, it's very difficult when you're dealing with somebody across the table who's behaving this way, and you never know what you're going to get. And I've have said, and others have said, listen to what he says, give it 72 hours, and then see what he's done.
Yeah,
and which is basically what Warren has said. Let's see whether or not his words or his actions, line up, and give it 72 hours. He's going to be probably onto something else.
All right, well, listen, we only have a few seconds left, so I'm just going to ask, where are we watching the game from, gentlemen?
Well, I'm up at the cabin tonight with my dogs, and I've got to figure out how to watch it online because I don't have TV up there, so I got to stream it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I happen also to be up north. Fortunately, we've got cable, so I'm likely going to be watching it from here unless I get a call from a good friend who wants to invite me to the game.
Well, I would pick up that call as well. And I will just say the weirdest is people watching outdoors, like watch parties, when the people who have tickets to the game are watching indoors. Go Jays, go. Thank you, gentlemen.
We've got cable. I'll be watching it from here unless I get a call from